Being queer is dope. It's a freedom unlike any other because you really get to define who you are and your place in the world.
So coming out was very hard, I think, for me in particular with my dad, just because I grew up, you know, in a Latino family and my dad was a fighter. And
Dads
so
are tough.
Yeah,
Dads are tough.
especially if they want you to be a boxer growing up. And I'm like, no, I bleed easily and I'm gay. But no, it was pretty tough just because, you know, when I first came up to my mom, even I was met with a little bit of resistance and kind of a warning of like, you should be careful with this. You should not be proud of it in a sense, because it's like, oh, you know, I'm not gonna get a good job when I grow up, or like if people know, then they're gonna look down on me, or it's just gonna make things a lot harder than it already is coming from like an immigrant family, you know? And I think a lot of the anger with that was just like frustration at it's like, oh, okay, I can be honest, but it's bad. And you know, I grew up in Catholic school, so it's like honesty is the number one thing, you gotta be honest. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying, but I met with so much resistance and flack that I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't good. And I just kind of decided one day, you know, fuck that, because I wanna be myself. I wanna be proud of what I am and who I am.
Yeah.
And even if my family is the one that's telling me to be careful, to be afraid, in a sense, I had to be like, fuck everything. Because it's like, it's my life, I have one of them, that's it. And I don't wanna be afraid, I don't wanna be subdued. Like, I wanna be proud of myself.
As Latina women, we don't often see like that type of representation anywhere. Like growing up, most of the representation that I saw, queer representation of, was male representation on screen. Like I hardly ever saw any female queer women, and even less than that, any feminine queer women también. Like that is just like, even like my cousin, like she is a little bit more masculine presenting. And so I didn't know that there was gonna be other people like me out there, you know what I mean? And going back to like how we started coming out, when I finally started like realizing and being comfortable with who I was and ready to share that with other people, like one of the first people that I told was someone who was close to me at the time and like a friend of mine. But when I told him, he was like, well, you know what? I don't believe in any of that on the fence bullshit. You're on one side or you're on the other, but like bisexuality like does not exist. And it kind of made me question myself again, you know what I mean? So it's been an ongoing process, trying to really figure out who I am and where I fall in that, like as a queer woman as well.
When Mikey and I got married, my husband, we wanted to make a point of doing a ceremony that was really visible, because, you know, I'm not the first openly gay member of my family, because my grandfather had a brother who was gay, R.I.P. Armando, my gay grandpa. And we made it super visible because Mikey is the first openly gay person in his family. And so we wanted to leave this touch point and these photos behind so that, you know, future little gay Saucedos and Andrades could see that and be like, this is something I could do. This is a life that I could live. You know, it's something that's possible. No queer experience is the same, you know? Everyone has their own circumstances and parameters to navigate, and your experience isn't any less valid because of what you're able to do or what you feel comfortable to do than anyone else's. And you know, we're so lucky that this is what we get to do.